First, let me thank you and thank FAS USDA, not only for the over 20 years of partnership we've had, but also giving global communities and PCI, as we're now one organization, the opportunity to share the perspective of integrated school feeding from an implementer's point of view. I'm proud to be here on behalf of the organization, somewhat as an ambassador, as you will, of the technical team, which are so dedicated to designing and learning in partnership with USDA about these programs and how to ever increase their effectiveness, and also very much so the highly dedicated field teams, which really do the work and make these things possible. So I'd like to start off just taking a quick look at the evolution of school feeding programs with USDA. I think it's very important because, you know, in 2000 through 2002, they started off as the Global Food for Education initiative, which was really a pilot to see, can this work be done, and can it be done effectively? And PCI, now Global Communities at the time, was able to partner with USDA in exploring this in Bolivia with considerable success, and that then moved the programs over to the current day McGovern-Dole International Food for Education and Child Nutrition Programming, which are much more holistic in nature. There is a lot more to a McGovern-Dole program than a warm meal. And this iconography that you see on this particular slide highlights the multitude of areas in which these programs work. They're exceptionally comprehensive, and they're complex, but that complexity is a root for sustainable and change and effectiveness. In terms of Global Communities history, as noted, we started off way back in 2002 in Bolivia, and then moved into Nicaragua, Guatemala, Tanzania, and most recently Madagascar. So quite a rich tapestry of experiences. If we're to look globally at what we've accomplished to date and what we will be through the existing programs and partnerships, there's well over 500,000 students as individual beneficiaries. And as noted earlier, when you sum up those who roll in and roll out through graduation processes, it actually goes into the 2 million zone. Schools over 2,000, and take a look at the U.S. donated commodities, you know, over 16,000 metric tons from the American farmers reaching children in some of the most hard hit and food insecure parts of the world where we work. I wanted to focus on the profound importance of community and government engagement in successful and sustainable school feeding program and improved literacy, health, and nutrition. It's really these partnerships that are at the core of effective school feeding, and the capacity development and developing a sense of ownership of them is critical at all levels. It can't only be at the school, it can't only be at the regional government, it can't only be at the national government. It has to span household all the way up into the national ministries at the highest level in order to be owned and sustainable. I thought it would be fun to take a look a little bit at some of the own words from people who have participated successfully in the McGovern-Dole programs. And as you can see, a community member mentions here, the starting point was when we, Global Communities, summoned us and organized ourselves into this community support group for the schools. And from there, they began to develop a plan. This visioning process with this direct stakeholders of a school, that is the parents, the administrators, and the regional government, is extremely important in laying the foundation for everything that will come. And then step by step through a process, we empower people and facilitate their ability to take over the program, to effectively phase us out from it. And this is a really important thing as we move into the facilitation phase of a McGovern-Dole school feeding program. And ultimately, you do reach a point when you're successful where the community and their regional governments, with support from the national government, become the guarantors of this process, of this program. And it's at that point where we start seeing what I would refer to as durable sustainability. So we'll take a quick look at Tanzania. The reason for choosing Tanzania are multifold. One of the things to note is that this is a long-running program. It originally started in 2011 as a much simpler and more classic approach to programming, which was the model at the time, and has since evolved into one which is highly integrated and has successfully helped with other partners and government cooperation establish the first national school feeding guidelines for the country, which now enables a national level platform of legislation to bring in budgetary flows for the government to start actively supporting and implementing their own school feeding work. So over time, quite a large number of schools, as you can see from the statistics, a lot of direct beneficiaries and meals. But some of the key learnings that I really wanted to share with you, and I think these are very important, is that sustainable school feeding needs to be co-owned. It needs to be a co-owned partnership between the communities and their local and national governments. It can't be only at the community level. It can't only be at the government level for them to succeed. In the case of Tanzania, there were key national level milestones that the program supported reaching, which are now laying the foundation for a sustainable future. School feeding guidelines were developed, as mentioned, and also a national school health program guide and manual. So now we are able to get the standards, if you will, for some of the most important elements in effective school feeding. Another thing that was pivotal in this program was the use of the LRP approach for sustained school feeding program. It enabled households to raise their production level to help contribute to school feeding voluntarily. It also brought in the private sector businesses to achieve the supply lines needed for improved support of improved input materials, and also the linkages with the ag extension to help those farmers succeed. So there were multiple level benefits on that one. There's some highlights of the program. This deck will be shared with everyone, so I won't spend time on those. But the last thing I wanted to talk about is that sustainable school feeding is really a journey. It's a highly integrated and complex process. If you look at the pie chart on the side, you will see all of the major elements and actors involved in achieving sustainable school feeding. But I really want to stress that, you have to come in and work at the highest level with the national governments and at the household level where those students live, and move them into their schools and create a conducive environment for learning and sustainable school feeding programs so that we can back away from the programs successfully and not rely solely on households to support the meals. To transfer the burden of feeding a child from the household to the school is not effective. We do need those financial flows from the government to support school feeding as well. It's that convergence where the success lies. So thank you very much for your time. And again, it was such a pleasure to share this experience with you.